Yeah, you're living. Ah, okay, here we go. You will find your life free your mind. From the ghetto to the office, hustlers to the sky. From the fuse to parliament, all the freedom of the time. I got to free my mind. The real is you will find. The time is for I got to free my mind. Got to release you. It's about that time. Oh, free my mind. 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 Star 106 hits a pleasant Tuesday. Good afternoon to each and all, and welcome to another edition of Free Your Mind, brought to you courtesy of Guinness Smooth, brand new to the Guinness line, and of course to the 700 Wines and Spirits in Burns House. Make sure you stop on into any of those locations, and of course, try it today. Less alcohol, less bitterness. I like to deem it the ladies' Guinness. Make sure you stop on in and try that today. Of course, KFC has got us this hour as well. Don't forget, you can WhatsApp those orders at 557-3663, and it's also Lent, so you can also check out the Colonel's Catch. Of course, I want to say thank you to Discount Distributors and Produce Express, the best and the freshest meats, vegetables, fruits at the best prices in town, hands down. So make sure you stop on in on Carib Road off Chesapeake. And I got to say thank you, of course, to Muffler World, Pinder Tile. Thank you so much. And of course, I want to say a big thank you to Lactogen, distributed by Lightborns Trading. All right. Good afternoon to all locked and loaded on the FM band 106.5. Thank you so much. I also want to say thank you to everybody locked and loaded. Star 106 on Facebook, Natural Empress on Facebook. Good afternoon to each and all. I've got a very special guest, Bahamian by birth. Doing big things abroad, and it's always so heartwarming when folks come back home and do their due diligence. And with that said, I want to welcome Dr. Anica Bowe. She's the Associate Professor of Education at Oakland University in Rochester, Michigan. All right, not New York. Rochester, Michigan, and she's home to conduct a survey. What is that survey about? We're talking about special education during COVID. So, to all my teachers out there, to just the general public, this one you definitely want to tune in and definitely pay keen attention. So, welcome home, Doc. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Empress. I am honored to be here.
I know, right? You're home, little warm weather, some good food. Get your little, what's your favorites? What do you miss?
I mean, everything. Macaroni and cheese, curry chicken, curry mutton, steamed fish. I mean, everything. So I've had just about everything since I've been here. And I just got here Wednesday.
All right. So how long are you going to conduct the survey and the study?
So the study on special education, what's happening with special education during COVID, I will be here for the entire month of March to conduct the study. So I'll be here until March 30th.
All right, so let's talk about this study. What does the study entail, and why the study?
Yeah. So let's start with just why the study. So we know the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, has worldwide left school systems in a disarray. And it's come with many challenges. And so, I mean, globally, we see challenges with access to education, maintaining a certain level of quality in education, keeping staff and students safe. Models of education, like what's working, is hybrid working, it's face-to-face working, is right. So what I see you shaking, I know, not hybrid, right? So I mean, what technology supports do we need for families, for schools? And these are just things that are on the tip of the iceberg And so oftentimes when you see when there are major issues that are happening globally, but also nationally, and it can even be within communities, and that affects the entire student body, certain subpopulations within our school systems kind of get lost in the mix. So we are focusing on on our special education community just to see, how are they faring in light of the pandemic? Like we want to know, for example, what kind of shifts have teachers, school staff, administrators, families, service providers, what kind of shifts have they had to make now that we are 1 year into the pandemic? What is actually going well inside special education due to the pandemic? What are the needs? And what else? What are the stories? What's going on? And
So go
yeah,
ahead.
and so in terms of what actually is the study, so I am inviting all community members who are part of the special ed community. That's teachers, service providers, parents. We've got our school staff, administrators, anyone who's connected with the special education community. Please call me. So please call me to share your story. If you want to interview, I've got certain questions I can ask. You can interview with me. There's a survey for teachers. If teachers prefer to fill out a survey asking about what's going well, what are their needs, they can do that as well. But really, it's just to get a big picture of what is happening in our country with our special education community during the pandemic.
All right. So this is a study that's being conducted for your university as such, or is it that you are just that interested to find out what's happening at home? Now, you could have done this back in Michigan if you wanted
Right,
to, but why
right.
home?
Why home? Because the land of my birth, I mean, my country, my love. Like honestly, I feel like when many of us who go off to school and we get advanced degrees, really at our heart, it's like mine is to serve my country. And so I am actually quite fortunate in that my dean supports me doing research in whichever country I want. Right. So of course I'm going to pick home. Right. I mean, all these 12 years of schooling, that effort coming home. Right. And also my university actually is in a consortium with University of the Bahamas. So even for example, when Hurricane Dorian hit, the president of my university organized a fundraiser and said, okay, we got to support the Bahamas. So really my university, and I'm quite fortunate, my dean, they are in support of me doing research elsewhere. So me right now, I recently received tenure. And so now I'm an associate professor of education. And so,
Hey.
hey, because that was a long road, child. That's a long road.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, so now I'm tenured. And so I even have more leeway in what I want to do. So I told my university I'm going on sabbatical this year, winter 2021, and I want to do research within the Bahamas. They said, absolutely, Dr. Bowe, go ahead, do what you want to do. I said, okay, I need a little funding now to do this research. Well, how much do you need? Well, I gave them a figure. Say, here you go do your research. So I said, fantastic. And so I contacted the Ministry of Education and I said, well, I actually have the leeway to do research and anything in education. So tell me, what are your needs? How would you like me to come alongside of you and support education within our country? So they said, okay, Bo, that sounds good. Let's get this together. Let's plan this out. And so I am not working by myself. I am working with Miss Therese Curry. She was the former principal of the Marjorie Davis Institute, and now she's the coordinator of professional development for the Ministry of the Bahamas, Ministry of Education, sorry, and also Philander Smith. She is actually a doctoral student at Syracuse University who is also majoring in doing her doctoral studies in special education. So we have a team. So it's just not me. It's a team of Bahamians, elsewhere as well as here, putting our heads together, supporting education here.
Oh wow, Anika, this is so enlightening. It's so heartwarming that you have decided to come home and do this now. Here's a very broad question for you. As
Absolutely.
you see now, prior to COVID and all of the damage that it's caused, how do you rate education as it stands in the Bahamas right now?
That is a great question, because there are so many. there are so many facets to consider, like what's happening with education in our country. So one of the perspectives, I must say my perspective is more global, because I've taught at the secondary level. I'm a former science teacher at Jack Haywood High. Okay.
Very good. Woohoo!
Yes. And so I've also taught in another Caribbean country and in the US. So my perspectives are shaped by my experiences there. And I would say, we have a lot that we should be grateful for. We have a lot to be thankful for. And, a lot of times we hear in the general discourse, man, what happening with these schools? This education system don't look too right here. Oh, what is the national average? Like we there's a lot of that in our discourse. However, I think especially for a very young country, and for a country like dealing with so much, we're actually doing, we're pacing ourselves quite well. Right. And if you notice, and one of the things that's an evidence of that is when you see Bahamians go abroad, whether it's Australia, the US, the UK, to other Caribbean islands, we hold our own. We hold our own within education systems. So while there are quite a few things, that there are growth areas for, I think we should be proud of what we offer our citizens, especially in terms of the teaching, the curriculum, the whatever else going on inside schools.
All right, Doc, we're going to take a quick break right there. We're going to find out real quick what's happening on the streets of Nassau. I got to get that traffic report out the way, our eye in the sky. And then, of course, when we come back, we'll talk more with Dr. Anica Bowe right here, free your mind on a Talk to Me Tuesday, right here on Star 106 Hits.
Insurance.
All right, Doc. Part one down. We got 2 to go.
Wow.
How was that for you?
Fantastic. I love the questions you were asking. I mean, those are really good questions.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good. Now, of course, we're still live on Facebook, so persons are still listening to us.
Absolutely.
So anybody got questions for Doc, feel free to type. You can type them in the comment section right now as you like. All right?
Yes.
While the ride up and down Carmichael Road itself is still an easy ride. The roundabout at Tony's Million Dollar Highway and Samila Butler is busy on all sides, and traffic coming in from JFK, that's just building up right now. Even this early in the afternoon, the 6-leg roundabout is busy on all sides, and the University Drive West Lane into that roundabout is already the lengthiest line over there. Elsewhere, it's all still a reasonable ride. We've got some hitting the brakes, but not enough going on to constitute traffic jams or congestions as yet. This National Traffic Report is service with Dr. Danny Johnson Associates at Foot and Ankle International. They offer the simplest and safest treatment for painful flat feet, bunions, hammer toes, sports medicine, and more. Visit Foot and Ankle International for relief. They're located Dean's Lane atop the hill at Fort Charlotte. Call them at 322-5402. That's 322-5402. You're the right scale, look at traffic in real time. I'm VA Double N. Back in an hour with another update.
Join Juices for Life and Jim and Juice for the big giveaway every month in 2021. All you have to do is spend $20 or more in any of our locations. Fill out the contact details slip, drop it in the box, and you will be entered to win a 50-inch LED Smart TV every month. Come and enjoy a variety of smoothies, juices, salads, sandwiches, and wraps, and build up with our countless supplements. Juice with us and win.
To Andre, who knocked it away from Matt behind the back.
Slam dunking. Thrilling moments, NBA basketball season. Bring the game to your restaurant, bar, and office with NBA League Pass only from Cable Bahamas Business Solution. Up to 40 live NBA games per week. Sign up now for special rates and discounts that can't be beat. Call 601-8911 for Nassau, 602-8811 for the family item. NBA League Pass from Cable Bahamas Business Solution. Finding new ways to save money without giving up quality and great taste just got a whole lot easier. Save like an expert at KFC. Enjoy a KFC family bucket filled with 8 pieces of tasty chicken, a large family fries, and 4 buttery biscuits, all for only $20 including VAT. Order now on WhatsApp for delivery or pickup 557-3663. Expert savings for home-cooked food at KFC Nassau. So good.
Being up right pinned the other day and I meet one trail hook. I ain't got a front door. I say, what it is, Ahab? What's with the hook?
When I say Lumpkin, I ain't taking no chances. I hear the minister say we got to be careful of the corona spike. You got to tell me once. I want to see him coming here. I sure.
Ads must sound so different to you.
I thought you was trying to hook people with your great selection of granite, marble, porcelain, and ceramic. He said, that ain't bad, Lumpkin. I tell you, you continues to surprise me. When the tile on Prince George Drive, we sell tile.
Ain't no stopping us.
One, two, three.
Star 106.
Star 106 hits, welcome back. This is Free Your Mind on a Talk to Me Tuesday. Dr. Anica Bowe is in the house, virtually that is. And of course, she's here spending some very, very, how shall I say it now, some quality time.
Right.
Back at home, she's been away. She's at the University of Michigan. And she's definitely spending some time home, just putting back in and pouring into the Ministry of Education right now when it comes to this research on education, special education during, I guess, and after COVID. Let's talk about the importance of a research as such.
Absolutely. So, education research is very important for a number of reasons. So, one of them is that, a lot of times what we think is common sense, or, of course that will work, or yes, we need to try that, is actually not effective. And so, we really need to collect data on what we are doing and decisions that we are making to be more informed, right? And so, as I said, I'm a former secondary teacher, and having taught in 3 countries, I've noticed that within a lot of our school systems, we tend to make decisions in the absence of data. So what does research do? Research gets data, and it gets data from the people's perspective too, right? So one of the things I value in my research is just going to the community, right? So instead of me going to, maybe this research generated in this country or that country, I say, no. Let me come right home to my own Bahamian people and ask them, what do you think is effective? What do you think will work? Because oftentimes folks who are closest to the issue give the best advice. They just need their voices uplifted. They just need a platform. And so for me, it's really, so it's really taking their voices and reporting back out to the community. Hey, this is what we're saying. So that's one thing, just data to make decisions. A lot of times too, we think, oh, this is not working. This is a bad idea. When really all it needed was more time. And so with more time, research shows you to, hey, you know what? With more time, this actually is effective. This actually will work, right? And so again, not going based on what we see or what we receive, but really systematically collecting information from multiple sources so we can have a whole picture of what really is going on. And mind you, we need to be mindful to what's working for who, because maybe it works for these set of students or for these teachers or for this curriculum, but not everything can be generalized, right? And so it gives information on what is effective, what should we be doing. Now a second thing why research is really important is because we need that data to actually secure funding. And let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So throughout my career as a professor of education, I have actually applied for quite a few grants and to support research and to support education in the Bahamas. Mind you, as I said, I'm a Bahamian. If I can put a lot of hard work into something, plenty of that gotta be my own country. And so putting these grants together, some of the feedback, actually quite often feedback is, Bo, great idea, but where is the data to support that this is actually a need within the Bahamas? And so us on the ground, we know it's a need. I mean, it's almost like we see it, we actually have our own data, but because this doesn't get trickled up to maybe funding agencies, proposals get turned down. So now we have all this money inside education and we're not getting much of it because we don't have the data to show that it's a need. And so that's one of the things I'm really intentional about too. Okay, we know this is a need. Let's collect data on it. Or we know this is going very well. Let's collect data on it to see how we can magnify it.
So good or bad, you need the data.
Good or bad, you need the data.
I got you. I got you.
Mhm.
Now, you recently conducted a study, or you gathered your information and your research in Grand Bahama. What were your findings?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
So that was a study on parent involvement inside schools and how we as a Bahamian community can support more parent involvement inside schools. And I did that research because one of the superintendents, she reached out to me and she said, "Hey, Bo, can you come alongside of us and do this together?" And it is a priority of the Ministry of Education anyway. So I said, "Sure, let me get my school to give me a little money for that." And so they sponsored it again. And so one of the now, before I get into that, I do want to make a distinction between parent involvement with schools and parent involvement with education.
okay.
Because,
Let's.
yeah, because those things are not the same, right? So parent involvement in schools, meaning are parents showing up on school grounds to do certain events or attend certain activities or having more of a presence on school grounds. So
Even as simple as attending a PTA, some people find that hard to do.
actually, many people find that hard to do. And here's a finding from one of my research findings. 40% of parents said, Bo, I want to be there, but work is the main barrier. I cannot get off work. I also in that study, so here's what I did. I surveyed parents and I surveyed teachers and I interviewed employers, faith leaders, social service providers, health workers, and then and I also interviewed parents as well. And I asked all these sectors, I said, hey, for example, employers, parents are saying, work is a barrier. What do you think? They said, Bo, let me tell you, I might as well tell you. Not everyone said this, but some of them said, I am not willing to let my employee go to a school event because that I lose money for that. My company doesn't profit off that. So to tell you the truth, Bo, it sound bad now, mind you. I ain't telling you who tell me that. Right? To tell you the truth, Bo, it sound bad, but I'm not letting my employee go. Whereas I had a couple others who said, well, if they give me advance notice, I can let them go to a PTA or to pick up the report card. But the other thing we need to be mindful of, many of us are employed by the private sector. So this means then we're not salaried workers, right? We are hourly workers. And so this means then if you miss a job, that could be your groceries for the week, or if you miss work, that can be rent, that can be mortgage. And
Real
so,
talk.
yeah. And so we really have to be mindful of, parents, the main concern, the main challenge is work. And now thankfully teachers also acknowledge that. Teachers said, Bo, I think their main concern is work, because work, they just can't get off the job. So thankfully teachers and parents both knew that. But the second finding was from after that, I said, okay, so what's the second barrier? Many parents said, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. I've got so many duties to do. And I
I
mean,
ain't got time for that.
right. But you know what? Not that I don't have time for that, but I have so many other things to do. For example, and here's one hypothesis. Mind you, I didn't ask people what job they did, but one of my hypotheses is a lot of parents have multiple jobs. So if you have multiple jobs, of course you're tired. I have one and I come home dog tired. Right? So one. And so parents have multiple jobs. Parents also have multiple children to attend to. These children go to different schools. So this is why I want to make a distinction between parent involvement, meaning on school grounds, versus parent involvement with education. Because just because parents may not show up to PTA or they might not show up to a school event, it does not mean they are not involved in education. And so we as a community, then we need to figure out, like, how do parents think about involvement? How do they characterize it? Right. And so another finding was very, very interesting. So I asked parents, do you convey the importance of education to your child? Almost 90% of parents said absolutely, every time, every day I do that. I always do that. So then I asked another question. I said, okay, so what do you think about other parents? What percent of other parents you think in our Bahamian population actually care about education? They're like,
Good question.
lower than low, so it was like much lower than me, right? And so while parents care about education and they highly value education and they convey that to their children, they don't think other parents do. So that that discrepancy in beliefs. So if I highly value something but I don't think my community values it, then we know from psychology, theories in psychology say, you may tend to not enact certain behaviors because you think, oh, the other people don't, I'm not doing it. So why am I doing it? Right. And so that was a very interesting finding I bring that up because I know, again, within the public discourse, a lot of us say, oh, these parents just ain't checking. They don't care. They don't value education. But that's not what the findings say. Parents highly value education, but it's now the perception of other parents.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So that's something too. We need to work. Maybe we need to work within our communities to change that narrative, to change that, I would say, perception. We need to change that perception. Parents don't care.
Mm-hmm. And that is the perception. Even if you talk to a lot of teachers, I'm sure, which you have and you will, I've heard a lot of teachers say when you go to a PTA and it's virtually almost empty, practically empty, they're like, child, these parents don't check.
Yes. And so that means then we as teachers, because myself too, when I was a former teacher, when parents didn't show up to my classroom to collect a report card, I said, what's wrong with these parents, man? They're not checking. But I would never forget this one time I went to a different building. I had gone to, I think, like a public works building, and I saw a parent, but I didn't know the parent, but the parent knew me. And that parent came to me. She said, "Oh, Bo, I know you all had PTA yesterday, but I couldn't come because I was at work and I couldn't leave. But you know what? I know what my child is doing in science because I'm a former science teacher. I know what my child is doing. They're doing this, this, and this. I look at their work. Mind you, I can't give feedback, but I look at their work." And I was shocked because I had never seen that parent on a school ground. That parent knew my name, knew what I looked like, and could tell me what I was teaching in the class.
That's impressive.
Yes. And so that made me check myself as a teacher. I said, I maybe I need to hold back on some of my assumptions about parents because they're not behaving in ways that what I think is caring and what I think is valuing education. Right. And so maybe I need to check myself on that too. Now, mind you, I'm sure you have your small
nonchalant,
right? Yeah, who ain't checking? They're like, oh yeah, school wasn't for me. School ain't gonna be for my child, or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have that, but I do, based on my findings, and again, this is why research is important. Based on that is simply not the case. Parents do care, and parents do value education.
Wow, Doc, we're going to take another break right here.
Yes.
Of course, very interesting, perception is everything. How you look at the glass, is it half full or is it half empty? This is very enlightening. We're going to take a quick break. More with Dr. Anica Bowe right here. It is Star 106 Hits.
Nothing better than seeing your child happy.
Boy, let me tell you something. You ain't lie. Perception is everything. I know, like I said, I try to I try to be as present as I could be when it comes to being on the school grounds, right? Mm-hmm. But again, I've heard many teachers in these same instances just say exactly what I said verbatim. These parents just don't check. Yes. Stevens, you out here trying to claim cousins wolf, man. Let me show you. Stephen always around here trying to find good cousins. Wolf. How'd I get your cousin, Stephen? You know Stephen?
That's Stephen. Yes.
That's
okay.
Stephen. Well, my beautiful cousin.
Yes, cuz what you saying, man?
Stephen, don't do it. All right, here we go. All
right.
Stephen, you overdue for a topic,
Muffler World, we'll set you on the straight and narrow in no time.
Yeah.
Computerized wheel alignment. Since the car is up already on the rack.
All right, this is the last one. Last commercial. Here we go.
Yeah.
Computerized wheel alignment and brand new tires.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This is the home of today's hit music and yesterday's favorites. Star 106.5 FM.
Star 106 hits. Welcome back. We got a doctor. There's a doctor in the house, Dr. Anica Bowe. And of course, she's at home doing a study on special education during COVID. It's so nice to even fathom that you found it so important to come back home.
Yes.
Like you said, you've opened my eyes, and I think to many of the listeners and viewers, the importance of research. We just can't, just wing it on a
Yes.
wing and a prayer and just a thought of what we think. Data is absolutely, absolutely essential.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things too I want to comment on too is that we have a lot of within the Bahamas, we have a lot of qualified and highly qualified, really good experts in place. So then, but then, a lot of our experts and our really qualified people, they have a lot on their plates and a lot on their agenda. So for me, one of my goals is to see, how can I connect scholars like myself, scholars in education who live abroad, to come, to make connections with the Ministry of Education and support initiatives. So for example, I am the chair of the Caribbean and African Studies in Education for the American Education Research Association. So the largest education research association in North America, and I'm the chair of one of the 6, the special interest groups. And so for me, one of my initiatives now is how can I connect Bahamians, students who are doctoral students, to the Ministry of Education? Because as I said, there are many of us who live abroad and we do want to support, we do want to give back, right? So how can I make this connection that's mutually beneficial? Because doctoral students, master level students, they all have to do theses, right? They all have to do them. And for a lot of us, we want to do them on topics that support our own country. But what stops us is we don't have that connection. I mean, time, and people can say, oh, you can send an email and get the connection, but no. People have a lot on their plates. So, admin personnel within the Ministry of Education, they probably get 500 emails a day. So there's no way they can go through all of that and sift and go through names and try to make that happen. So for me, now that, since I do have a relationship with the Ministry of Education, I think for the next 10, 15, 20 years, I will be trying to foster these relationships because we can support each other that way. That benefits both of us. That benefits our education system and it benefits the scholars who are just coming up.
Let's talk about the survey that's about to be conducted, if you haven't already started. For those persons that have just joined us and have no inclination as to what it is we're talking about and why we're talking about data, again, because I think you need to drive it home,
Yes.
the importance of everyone getting involved in this survey that you're conducting.
Yes, absolutely. So the study that I'm conducting has multiple parts. So one is a teacher survey, and it's just asking teachers, what are your impressions of what's going on during COVID? So if you were a teacher within special education, or you can be teaching in an inclusive classroom, so you're in the general classroom, but you have students with special needs within your classroom, feel free to fill out the survey. There's also going to be, you can interview with us too. So questions that I'll be asking, describe a typical day. What are some things that are working very well? What some shifts have you had to make for your students during COVID, right? And for our service providers, what is happening? How are you even able to provide service during the pandemic? Like, does it mean now you have to drive somewhere else, or you can't drive? Has services stopped, or have they're actually going quite fine? So it's like, what is happening? And so for folks to participate in the study, my phone number 829-7477. Please, y'all write it down. Let me say it again. 829-7477. One more time. 829-7477. Please WhatsApp me, text me, call me. My email, bowe@oakland.edu. You can email me too, but please I've already actually had some folks starting to call me and text me. And so just to share their stories. And again, share your story or interview with me, or take a survey, or be a part of a community forum. If you say, hey, Bo, I want to be in a room with people, maybe a room of teachers or a room of parents, or we're just giving you our ideas, I can set that up, right? So
that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
actually to ask teachers to uh, share their stories and
Yes.
in one open setting, in an open forum, I think you
Yes.
get more accomplished.
Yes. So open forum, just WhatsApp me, text me and say, Bo, I want to do this open forum. I will come get back in touch with you and tell you when it is. So please call, email, text,
I
participate.
think
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest things that are topics of discussion right now in terms of what works and what doesn't, or what's working versus not working, is this hybrid
Ah,
system. What's your take on it? You've been watching it since Wednesday. You've been hearing people talk about it. Free your mind.
you know what? That looks like a
I know, right?
that we can't even articulate, because on one hand, you have to think about what's the student's perspective, what's the teacher's perspective. That some schools are going to school like all the days. Some schools, no, you go 2 days, you go maybe Tuesday and Thursday. Some of the students don't ever enter the school. So I cannot imagine the amount of work on teachers, admin, school staff. Oh my gosh. And then the stress on families and parents. But again, you have to see what's working, right? You have to try these different modes to see if it to see how effective they are. Is it that maybe we need to give it time? Right? So do we need to give it time? Is this actually best practice moving forward? Maybe we need to shift some ways how we do schooling, and this is actually going to be best practices moving forward. Maybe we need to shut the whole thing down and say, mm-mm. So again, like with research will tell you like how effective it is, what's best. But again, I say research over an extended period, because I would imagine people now who just started the new shift. I can imagine the frustration and the scheduling. Oh, who could remember who's being taught when and what and who's coming in. So yes, I would say lots of grace, lots of prayers for everybody, because I just can imagine how stressful that is. And again, where I live in Michigan, I'm on a parent involvement team for a district the community I live in. And one of the things the parents said, she said, "Boy, Bo, you know what? I'm concerned about my child going back hybrid, because I don't know where the sanitizers are. I don't know how far apart the desks are. I don't know what's happening in the hallways when kids move. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what the cafeteria situation is like." And so one of the things we have suggested to schools who've done it is to create a little virtual tour. Some schools have already done it. Some schools have not yet. Create a little virtual tour. Take pictures of what's happening inside the schools. Make a little slideshow for parents so they can feel a little more at ease if their child is going inside the school for instruction.
That sounds so nice. I ain't gonna lie. That sounds so nice, but that requires work. That requires extra work. Are you serious? You know where you is?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can have like a teacher just take a picture on their phone. Use your phone. Take a picture of your classroom setup, right? And have that. You can display that. That's easy to put together. So you can have a high school student for their elective, say who in media or graphic design, say, "Hey, let me throw this little video together for my school." Right? So it doesn't have to take a lot once we're okay with things not looking like it's coming from Hollywood, right? Let's be practical, right? And so maybe too, schools can also see if schools allows phone. I don't know if schools right now allow students phone inside schools now. I
Well,
know,
like you said, the teachers could do it because
yeah, the teachers
I'll
could do
tell
it.
you what. Case in point, parents said to me no longer than about 2 hours ago that they have to drop the child off, and there's no more walking little Susie or Johnny to the
Yes,
class. So you're left with your imagination,
yes.
you're trying to figure out what the setting may look like. So what you're saying makes actual sense, but will they do it is the question.
Well, you know what? I That's a great point, because school staff already have too much on their plate. Not enough, too much. there's so many moving pieces going on. And it's not that, I don't think it's not that people don't want to do it. It's just so stressed and overwhelmed. And the other thing we need to think about the mental health of all of us right now, right?
Girlfriend, that's a topic for another day. You could come back free because that is something that continuously you need to
Yes,
sensitize the public on, I think, on a weekly basis, a daily basis,
yes,
even about the importance of checking in on that. We as a country is all about the physical. You know, you feel
mm,
a little pain, you run to the doctor. But when it comes to the mind and the strength of it,
yes,
it's either you're sane or you're insane for us. There's no middle
yes. Are they
ground. And
crazy? They
it's sad.
crazy.
It's sad. But when you
Yeah.
get the exposure that you have, and people who live abroad who travel more than others, you find that you realize that in other countries, that's neither here nor there. That's like going to the medical doctor, for whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's almost a given. That's part of your plan. That's part of your insurance plan, right? And
Hello.
yeah. So like me, schools having counselors, schools, and there's no, mind you, there's stigma still everywhere
Gotta
about,
get rid of it. I mean,
but we need to get rid of it because mental health, I mean, in many ways, I would say many ways that's more important than your physical health.
hello, somebody. If your mind ain't right, your body follows it.
Ah.
Hallelujah.
Right. So yeah, so we can just, if we can just combat this stigma about, oh, I have a mental health issue or concern, but really and try support and as a community come together and support that, and see how can we support each other with that and not, and not have this and have it as taboo. Right? Because
Yeah, I don't know.
it's very common, but the thing is, it's so common, Empress. It is common, right?
I,
But
I, I'm a traveler. I know.
yeah, but yeah.
I'll talk for you. I'll free my mind on that, sweetie. Let me tell you something. If we don't get with it, and I think this is the opportune time to see it as
Yeah.
normal during COVID, where people are
Yes,
hanging and dangling by a thread when it comes to whether
yes,
they are sane or insane. There's a lot, like you mentioned, on the
yes,
state of our people right now in every
yes,
walk of life. So, if any time to see it as normal, would be during this very abnormal time.
absolutely. And also, so that was another finding from my previous research in Grand Bahama. And just a shout out to the Principals and Vice Principals Association in Grand Bahama. Whoop, whoop. So, yeah, so one of the findings, so when I interviewed it was the social worker and as well as the medical social worker, um, one of them at that time, they they said, we go through this devastation as a country. We go through devastation with hurricanes, but for us, since that is so normal for us, we're not talking about what the mental strain and the stress and the depression, right, and the anxiety that come upon us when we go through these natural disasters, because we say, oh man, brush it off, man, stop that, man, that's us, man, but that's just how we go. Deal with it. Deal with it. No, 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 no.
No, or pray it away. Don't forget to
Get
pray it away.
off,
Don't forget
child.
to.
Pray it away, right? But I mean, that's not the way to deal with that. We need to
No.
teach each other coping mechanisms. And we need to heal. We need to say. We need to express. And when you go through trauma, and when you go through multiple traumas, that it actually has a compound impact. So, for example, my sister, she's a psychiatrist, right? And so one of the things she told me was that when people go through multiple traumas, I thought it makes you a little easy. It's a little easier to deal with the next one. She said, no, 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 Nika. She said, when you go through multiple traumas, it has a compounding impact. So what your trigger level now is a little lower. So I said, so what? So all these, natural disasters, then now COVID, and we haven't even recovered so much from Dorian and the other one that was before. I mean, so
Girl, let me take you back. Let me take you back as a Grand Bahamian. We have
yes,
not recovered from Francis and Jean in 2004. It's just
thank
been
you very much.
compounded, as you said.
Yes, compounded, and then what you carry in your mind, you carry in your body.
And your heart and your soul.
Mm.
Girl, don't let me start preaching. But listen, we are definitely running out of time. I want you to again stress how persons can take part in this research with you.
Absolutely. So to participate in the research, meaning telling your story or come interviewing with us or taking part in a survey or community forum, call me 829-7477. Let me check my phone to see who all and WhatsApp me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right now. Oh, and also what I should say look, boom, boom. I've got a few people on my WhatsApp
That's what I'm
already.
talking about.
And I should say, and to thank you for your time too. There's also a little top up I'm giving people, like a $6-7 top up, depending whether you are at BTC
All of that?
live. Yeah, a little, but to thank people for their time, right? Because they're supporting me in my research. They are supporting the Ministry of Education by offering their research. And so my university, again, this is why I got to give kudos to Oakland University, saying, no, what you need, how much money you need to do this? I said, I give them a figure. I said, look, give me this, come. So they said, okay, you can go ahead and do that. So, I need to again acknowledge and thank the Ministry of Education for their support as well. I mean, they have been wonderful and fantastic. Anything I've needed to make it done, they have it to me just like that. I mean, they have
Awesome.
superb administration, superb people inside the ministry. And I just needed to say that as well.
All right. So again, 829-7477 and the email.
Yes, Bowe at oakland.edu. So that's OAKLAND, like Oakland, like the place in California, .edu. And everyone, I believe, is spelled Bowe.
Bowe at oakland.edu. Simple as that.
Simple. WhatsApp me, email me, call me. Let's get this on the roll. I'm here until March 30th. Now, mind you, I leave in March 30th. So make sure you call before that. Right.
Yeah, we need them to start calling this week so you can get it
this
done.
week. Right. Yeah.
Well, I will remind them. 829-7477 is the number to call. Anica, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. It has been my honor.
Oh, well, good luck. I'm
Thank you.
hoping that you get all the info that you need. I hope enough people take part so you can have various views. Like you said, again, I want you to just quickly tell us who you're targeting. Again, parents, teachers, give it to them again.
Yes. So we've parents, teachers, administrators, school staff, service providers, anyone connected with the special education community in any way, please call me. Please call me. Let us know what's going on. And again, I'm doing this study with Miss Therese Curry as well as Miss Philander Smith.
All right, Dr. Anica Bowe, thank you so much. And folks, y'all know what to do. Keep it locked. Top of the hour, 5 o'clock here. Drive at 5 with yours truly. And DJ AI comes your way. Stay tuned. Yes, my darling.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. You need to pass back through again, closer to your departure.
Absolutely.
No problem. I'm thinking to reach out to. Have you reached out to any schools as such, like gone into the school and talked to some of the teachers?
Not yet. So for my IRB, it has to be virtual because of COVID. And so what I've done, I've sent the information to superintendents. But now that it's on the ground here, I'm going to now start calling.
Right.
Say, hey, because I know, you can send emails, but who have time to open up emails? But if I can get the word out, and people should just share the information as well.
Well, what I'm going to do, because there are quite a few teachers that watch the show. I see a couple of people already. But I'm thinking for the personal teachers, the personal relationships I have with teachers, I'm just going to forward the number.
Thank you.
So that you can, one is a owner of a school. A couple of them are at a Catholic school. One in particular I'm thinking of, she's in Spanish Wells. She's a teacher in Spanish Wells. And one to 4 of them are public school, primary school teachers. Just my personal circle.
Yes, so please.
I will forward that on to them. And like I said, if you want to come through again before, closer to your departure, no problem. Just let me know.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem.
All
right. We'll talk soon.
Yes. You take care.
Wait. There's a question for you. What is classified as special education in Bahamas? How are students' children chosen for such classes?
You know what? There are inside the special education standards, you can find that information. And so there are multiple, criteria to be classified as needing special education. And so I would say to consult that manual, and there's no way I can just drop that here. Yeah, and to be chosen for classes, you have to be screened, right? So you have to be screened, and then and it's a conversation with practitioners, with the special ed experts, with service providers to be able to make that classification.
Oh, this one says you're getting all the questions now. Okay. Hi, good evening. Samuel Nelson here, special education teacher at Anatole High.
Fantastic. Yes.
Woo! Love it.
Thanks for listening.
So, Samuel, you got that number? It's
Yes.
829-7477. By all means, please take part in this research. You gotta do this survey.
Yes,
All right. Thank
please.
you, Samuel. Oh wow. Any further questions, guys, before she leaves? If not, please do reach out to her. Here are the numbers. One more time.
Yes.
All right.
829-7477. Text me, WhatsApp me now to make sure it's working.
Yeah. Girl, you something else. All right.
Yes.
So thank you so much and keep in touch.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Okay.
Not a problem.
Okay.